Greetings and welcome to step 7 of our awakening in 30 steps. Today's contemplation is on find a real world mentor. And what I'm going to do in this reflection is just discuss very briefly the importance of a mentor, the qualities of a mentor, and how to find a mentor. But before I do, I have a request of you. If you're following along and you want to help me understand this one little reflection that I'm contemplating, which is a comment or question about our culture and social media use in general or in specific. What is it about our culture, what is it about social media that makes it very hard to sustain our attention for anything more than 3 steps or 3 posts or the 3 things or the 3 of this or the 3 of that? It seems that to me that anything more than that, somehow we can't stay to it, we can't stick with it. And when I started this journey and I knew I had 30 steps in front of me, I had a question. How many of you would be willing to go the duration of the journey? And so maybe you could help me by reflecting on the culture at large, on social media use in specific, and if you're finding it useful or beneficial, what is it about you that makes it possible for you to continue on the journey of this kind of length and duration? So just a little sort of feedback that I'm looking for, and really interested to hear your opinion on the matter. Now, today's post is on the mentor. What is the use, purpose of the mentor? How do you what are the qualities and how do you find one? Before I start with those 3, let me just qualify the difference between step 4 and step 7. So step 4 is our imagined or virtual or archetypal mentor, mythic level mentor, whereas step 7 is the real world mentor. So if you recall back, the first 6 steps of the gradual path have to do with our visualization practice, creating a sacred space, setting up the altar, making offerings, sitting down, adjusting our posture, cultivating a good motivation, dissolving into emptiness, re-arising into the jewel tree sanctuary of the active imagination, calling forth the mentor, then following the 7-step mentor bonding process to eliminate negativities and cultivate virtues, and then step 6 to offer a mandala. We've covered that so far. Thank you so much for sustaining your interest and energy on the journey. Now, what is the difference between that step 4, cultivating or evoking the mentor there, and this step 7, seeking and establishing a relationship with a real-world mentor? The archetypal mentor is a visualized deity, traditionally. It could be green Tara, it could be Krishna, it could be Christ, it could be Buddha. Okay, I call that the avatar or Superman suit. It doesn't have to be. It can just be your real-world mentor if you want. Of course, there are not that many restrictions, especially in the way that I was taught by Bob Thurman and Joe Luizzo around this. But traditionally, the sadhana, the visualization practice, is the deity. And then they have this beautiful merger that happens when you invite in your real-world mentor to occupy or inhabit the Superman suit or the avatar of the deity. And that serves 2 functions. What it does is filter out any quirks and amplify good qualities. What do I mean by that? So I mean, all human beings, real-world mentors, have little quirks and little, little nitty little bits, things that aren't that all that desirable or whatever. They're not all perfect. They're humans, right? So, but when you're in your optimal environment and you're really trying to maximize the download, it's nice to be able to, for the temporary purpose, specific purpose of your visualization practice, to sort of let go of any of those little insecurity bits or little niggly bits, filter those out. So they hop into a Superman suit or they hop into the avatar, and those little niggly bits, they get filtered out, but all their good qualities, they get magnified or amplified by the green Tara costume or the Krishna costume. And that's a very profound, conscious decision, and I think it is, in a way, just using the mind to totally optimize the experience. It's like a recognition that real human mentors have quirks. Let's let go of them consciously, temporarily, not deny them, but just for the purpose of our own visualization, let's filter them out and amplify, really magnify the good qualities. So whether you have one or both, you can do whatever you need to do in your visualization. If you only have real world, use only real world. If you only have archetypal, use archetypal. If you have both, that's a little comment on how you can use both and why both, what using both offers. Now, why do we need a mentor? Well, I mean, this is self-explanatory. If you want to learn anything as a human being, as a mammal, the best way to learn is from another human being who has mastered something. So if it's violin or dance or quantum theory or surgery, the best way to learn is not necessarily out of a book, although very useful, not necessarily on YouTube, although very useful, not a master class in eight sessions, although very useful. It's to be near and live with and surround yourself by a living, breathing being who has already accomplished, cultivated, developed, mastered that thing, that quality, that skill that you desire to incorporate into your mind. So that is no different on the spiritual path. It's no different than going to Juilliard and hoping to become a dancer or to cultivate ballet, beautiful music, to write film scores, whatever. It's no different. If you seek enlightenment and you're having trouble finding someone who's fully enlightened, at least somebody who has developed qualities much further and much more profound than you have. So that's the purpose of a mentor. Then what should you look for? Well, they say you should look long and hard because this person is going to occupy a very significant role in your life, and you can't imagine something more sacred than a mentor for whom you're going to grow into. So choose wisely. And so when you get to something as significant as that, they offer various lists of qualities to look for. So you can do the search of the 10 good qualities of the mentor. You can go online or type in Tibetan Buddhism and the 10 good qualities. They list out all these very good parameters around which to check. You should go and check. If you're going to buy a vacuum or a washing machine, you go to Consumer Reports and you do a very good, thorough study, and you look at all the comments by other buyers. You look at all the reviews, and you check really hard before you make that purchase. Well, think of this as someone who's completely embedded and responsible for your evolution. So check wisely. Go and look at the qualities of the mentor. There are usually lists of 10, some text list slightly different variations of them. And then they say if you can't find someone with 10, because of we're living in a degenerate age where there are fewer and fewer of these great masters like Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche and Pabonka Rinpoche and people like the Dalai Lama. There are fewer and fewer of these characters around. But that shouldn't discourage us. Nonetheless, they just say lower the bar of expectation. Even someone with 5 of those qualities, could help us develop and help us get a leg up on our compulsive instincts and to develop good qualities. And then they say, if you can't find 5, find 2. If you can't find someone with 5, find 2. And I love the 2. The 2 is easy to remember. Someone who cares more about the next life than this life, and someone who cares more about others than themselves. Yeah, take that in. If you're looking for a mentor and you need some parameters for guidelines for who's well cultivated and who's worthy and who's respectable and who's good quality, someone who thinks more about the next lifetime than this, and someone who thinks about others more than themselves. Wow. So at least look for that. Look up to 12 years, they say, before you make a commitment. Really, really put in the effort and really be scrupulous and uncompromising. So you have to understand the purpose of a mentor, which is the best way to learn. You have to look at the qualities of the mentor and spend a good amount of time really doing a exercise of discovery, a discovery period, and then really commit. So one of the other questions that most people ask is, how do I find one? Now I understand the value, And now I understand some of the parameters. Now I understand the purpose of a mentor. Now I understand some of the parameters to look for. How else do I go about finding a mentor? Well, one thing that you can do is always remember karma theory, which is cause and effect, nothing is random. And so practice virtue. Practice virtue and dedicate your merits specifically for the establishing a relationship with a qualified mentor. So it's too much theory for me to go into here, but nothing in life that that we hope for or to establish comes randomly. It all comes on the basis of cause and effect. What are the causes? The causes come from virtue. And so, you can find a loving partner, you can feel confident. None of those things happen randomly. No one bestows those things on you. Finding a teacher is no different. It comes by virtue. Everything comes by virtue. Despite what our culture says in terms of dog eat dog and competition and fight for your survival, the world of karma theory operates by way of virtue. Virtue is what establishes anything that we would like to develop. And so just be specific in your practice when you dedicate your merit. Dedicate it at the end of every practice. Portion out a little bit of your energy or your good mojo. And really pray hard for the wish that you would find and establish a relationship with someone who is qualified so that you can complete your journey and benefit others. So that is one thing I can suggest in your meditation practice. Understand the value of a mentor. Inform your mind on the parameters of what to look for. Cultivate and dedicate some of your virtue to actually finding somebody. So that is the reflection for today. Please do consider helping me out and understanding a little more about our culture and why, more lengthy journeys are difficult to follow, but also what it is about you that makes you, what is it about you that allows you to stick with the path? Because we have a long journey ahead of us still. We're only on step 7, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying reading your posts, but I'm just a little curious about our culture and what kind of impact this is making, why you're on the ride, that kind of thing. So today's step 7, establish a real-world mentor relationship. All best wishes.